Opposition activists have clashed with police in central Moscow as demonstrators refuse to move to the authorised location for their rally. The anti-government protest, dubbed the March of Millions, comes on the eve of Vladimir Putin's presidential inauguration, of course. These are the latest live pictures we've got coming through from Bolotnaya Square. Also down there as well, or at least very close by, our correspondent Anissa Nawe. Let's catch up with her and get a flavour of the latest that's happening there. Anissa, things rather heated, to say the least, an hour ago. What's the position where you are now?
Well, it seems like there's spurts of moderate clashes between mostly opposition leaders and riot police, who certainly seem like they weren't prepared for any kind of provocation today. We are hearing reports, though, within the last hour of tear gas, other kinds of ways of dealing with crowds. What we heard from officials were that they were afraid of some kind of stampede. Again, I just want to warn you, there's a lot of different versions as to what went down here on Bolotnaya Square. Of course, the scene of major protests that we saw back in December. Ultimately, it was supposed to be a relatively peaceful protest. What happened was, at least from where I'm standing, was people were meant to make their way across this bridge into Bolotnaya Square, which now is very empty. A lot of people are staying back on that bridge, and what happened was leaders like Alexei Navalny were calling people to come back to the bridge to begin a sit-in with them. Navalny, as well as Boris Nemtsov, have been arrested. We're hearing they're going to get 15 days or so, and they, through social networks like Twitter, especially Alexei Navalny, telling people to remain in the center, and that's basically what we've seen over the past hour. As you can see, I'm not sure how much because there is sun glaring there, but I know you have live pictures coming from our cameras, which are stationed throughout the crowd. Most of the crowd is staying on that bridge. Actual Bolotnaya Square, which we saw full in December, is pretty much empty. So the venue, the original venue where this rally was supposed to take place, is empty. You have a lot of people on this bridge where I am, kind of just looking on, waiting to see what happens. And again, Kevin, a lot of different stories about how this all happened. We heard reports of sharp objects being thrown, smoke bombs. We do have pictures of clearly opposition leaders and some protesters trying to break police lines, and that's really what it seems like, and when it seems like this kind of really standoff between riot police and these protesters, at least some of them, it should be said. A lot of people are just watching on peacefully, some of them clashing with police here in central Moscow.
Yeah, Nissa, I'm getting some news lines through as we focus in on those pictures. I'm hearing reports that the police saying 4 officers were injured in these clashes. As you were saying, 200 of the protesters have been arrested this afternoon. Police officially saying it didn't use any tear gas or anything like that. We did see some smoke earlier on, but we are hearing that some of the protesters were throwing smoke bombs. And as you're also saying, the other headline here, 3 arrested: Alexei Navalny, Sergei Deltsov, Boris Nemtsov as well. They're at a police station at the moment. They're charged with disobedience. That means, doesn't it, they could face 15 days detention, which of course is not new to them. I guess they'll be looking at it as well, thinking that it's publicity and saying it's publicity. That's the flip side to it. I was just talking about that there, and these are the pictures from a little bit earlier on. This is the moment when certainly 2 of them, Alexei Navalny, Sergei Deltsov, were arrested. They were taken away by police there. And the latest we've had through in the last half hour about that, as I just mentioned, is that they've been charged with disobedience, which means they could face up to 15 days detention. Now, with me in the studio, I've got Igor Koklov, a political commentator. I've also got Peter Lavelle as well, of course, our host of Crosstalk. They're both here. They've been watching these pictures very closely. Who should I start with? Who wants to pitch in first?
I've got too much to say.
Yeah, I'm sure you would. You always do. The police are saying these street demonstrations, these where they were supposed to be held, weren't blocked. There was room for these protesters. This is the police line. The police saying that Bolotnaya Square was available for the majority of these protesters, but they didn't want to go there. They were being awkward. What do we read into that?
So first of all, we have to understand that Udaltsov, for instance, he is a professional revolutionary. His grandfather was a prominent Russian revolutionary who worked with Vladimir Lenin. and in Moscow a street is named after his grandfather. So he knows well how to organize revolution and how to organize protests.
I would say these are not his people, and I think this is one of the interesting things about this protest movement. He wants to hijack it, and other radicals want to hijack it. I'm sorry, gentlemen, this is called the million person march. There's up to, and I'll be generous, 20,000 people here.
I guess
not
about
a million.
10,000.
Not a million, okay? What I'd like to stress to our viewers, looking at these pictures here, these are the same people that have been marching since the parliamentary election in December. The same people. These numbers are not growing. They're getting smaller, gentlemen. They're getting smaller. And I would posit right here, Kevin, real quick, is that someone needs a provocation to keep this movement alive. Because let's think, gentlemen, logically speaking, this is the last thing Vladimir Putin wants the world to see the day before he's inaugurated, where Kevin and I will be sitting here tomorrow doing the inauguration. So it really makes perfect sense to me. Connect all of the dots. It's very simple.
Actually, Pete, just to butt in, we'll stay with these pictures. Very sad bit of news has just come through. It is yet to be confirmed. We're hearing there's been a death there this afternoon, an accident. A photographer, I'm hearing. This is to be confirmed.
A bystander.
A photographer fell down from a balcony at Yakimanka Street while capturing the opposition march. Apparently he died instantly. It's very sad news. Our thoughts, of course, go out to him and his family.
Well, of course, we'll start with the blame game here. Look at these pictures right here. These pictures are not people looking for peaceful change here. We see people that want to cause trouble. They want as much media coverage as possible. I met some Western journalists. I won't mention their name. They were going there today to see exactly this kind of thing. This is what their producers want.
To be fair to the organisers, they were calling this the million-man march, but that was across the whole of Russia, not just in Moscow, where they were saying that. Do we know anything about the turnout?
Yeah, but Kevin, I mean, it is Moscow and St. Petersburg that count right here, all right? And I want to make sure my viewers understand that I'm for a protest peacefully in the right place. You get a permit, you know. Protesting in Russia is nothing new. It didn't start after the parliamentary election of last year, okay? There have been protests here since the start of the Russian Federation. This is nothing new. People are exploiting it.
Alexei Navalny, an anti-corruption blogger, well-known anti-corruption blogger, he's put it there.
And nationalist. Just remember that.
Where's he going to go with this, do you think, Igor? How far is he going to carry this on?
Actually, first I would like to say that the people who came to Bolotnaya Square, those are not the same people who came half a year and in December. Because in December there were a lot of people whose agenda had nothing to do with policy change in Russia. Those were people scammed by black realtors. Those were people who were dissatisfied with some absolutely different problems away from social and political agenda. And Navalny and Nemtsov tried to capitalize on them and say, yes, here we can see how many people are dissatisfied with the regime and let's do regime change. And when people understood that their presence is being used, that actually Navalny and Udaltsov are trying to channel their mistrust with some kind of official so they understood that the numbers dropped immediately.
You're going to see even the numbers even drop more. Because this is not the kind of thing people want to be involved with. This is not the kind of participatory democracy, or whatever term you want to use, that people want to be part of. I know many people, very, very close friends, that sympathize with protesting and wanting change, but they don't want this. This is not what they want to be involved with. This is a provocation that will backfire eventually.
So I was going to say, I mean, you've kind of answered what I was going to say there, but will this be noted in the Kremlin? We're less than 24 hours from the inauguration now. I mean,
Kevin, they've been noticing this since it started, okay? We've seen this time and again. Every single major speech that we've had from the authorities that be have recognized this, reacted to it, acknowledged it. Fine. There are radical forces out there. There are nationalists out there. There are radical socialists out there. Put them together, gentlemen. National socialists. Okay. These people want violence.
And we have to understand that for Udaltsov and Navalny, this is maybe the last chance to organize such a crowd, and that's why they try to take most advantage of it right now. Well, for them, it's the last time, and violence is the best way to attract attention.
Of it, we're getting obviously the news lines are starting to come through now. Just to bring our viewers up to date, we're hearing that 6 people have been hospitalized hospitalized after today's protest. As you already know, Udaltsov, Nemtsov, Navalny detained for provocation. They could face up to 12, 15 days under arrest now. And also to just remind our viewers as well, the very sad news we heard that it's yet to be confirmed, a photographer, it looks like, while he was covering these protests today, slipped, fell, don't know, but we hear he died instantly. We'll get more on that, no doubt.
Again, let's make it very clear to our viewers here. There were protests after the parliamentary election for alleged violations. I think there were some. Obviously, in an election of this scale, was it large enough to change the outcome? Absolutely not. But one of the interesting things is that the protest movement energized Putin's base for the presidential election. Now we're going to see Putin's base again energized, because people are going to look at this and say, oh, this is not what we bought into with Mr. Putin, because this was the 1990s. This is the 1990s. People don't want to go back there. Putin will comment on it tomorrow.
Igor Koklov, Peter Laval, thank you ever so much. We're talking about Putin's base there.